chosen one, you just caused major stress to a group of people, and they're in panic mode as you clear the lies. There's even police involvement now. Everyone watching realizes something massive. The story about you, the narrative believed for so long, it's all crumbling right in front of their eyes. You didn't fight. You didn't expose anyone. You simply existed in your truth while others drowned in lies. Someone from your past built an entire financial situation on lies about you. Not just personal lies, not just relationship drama, actual documented deception involving your name, your signature, possibly even your identity. Official people were told you were involved in things you never agreed to. Your connection to this person became credibility for dealings that were questionable at best, fraudulent at worst. This person functioned by keeping people in the dark. Truth was the enemy, because truth meant system collapse. So others were gathered who either didn't know the real story or who benefited too much from the lie to question it. Think about a structure where followers depend on a central figure, except instead of spiritual manipulation, this was financial. Instead of enlightenment, a lifestyle was being sold. That lifestyle required your name attached to it, even after you left. You weren't just an ex to this person. You were a reference that was still being used. You were credibility that was still being claimed. You were a foundation stone, supporting construction you never approved of. Now that foundation is cracking because someone's asking questions. Someone official wants to verify details. Dots are being connected that don't add up. When those official inquiries reach you, when you tell the simple truth about what you actually signed versus what was claimed, the entire empire will crumble. The group knows this. That's the source of panic. That's why emergency meetings are happening. That's why people are trying to get stories aligned before questions arrive. Everyone is implicated. Some knowingly participated. Others were useful without asking enough questions. Either way, when truth emerges, when official documentation proves deception, everyone connected has to answer for their part. You have nothing to lose by telling the truth. You're not trying to protect a lifestyle built on lies. You're not desperate to maintain a reputation based on deception. You're not scrambling to keep a house of cards standing. You simply answer honestly when asked. That honesty is a wrecking ball to everything constructed on falsehood. This goes deeper than you might realize. This person didn't just have business associates. There was what can only be described as a network of enablers, multiple romantic connections, multiple people competing for attention, multiple individuals who each thought being special, chosen, the main one. The truth is none held that position. Everyone was just pieces in a game designed to keep someone financially and emotionally afloat while running from accountability. One person stands out in this group. This is the one who crashed out at the funeral. This is the one who thought winning meant being chosen over you. This is the one who built an entire identity around being number one. Now the realization is hitting hard. There is no number one position. There's just whoever's most useful at any given moment. There's just whoever is providing the most money, the most cover, the most alibis for behavior that should have been questioned. This person is losing control because the truth is becoming visible. Your ex isn't trying to change. Your ex isn't trying to heal. Your ex is trying to run. Your ex is trying to escape consequences that are closing in. The first instinct is running back to you because you represent something desperately needed: legitimacy. You represent stability. You represent a clean slate that hasn't been earned. Reconnecting with you seems like it might somehow fix the mess that's been made. Meanwhile, the person who thought being special meant something is watching that position dissolve. The realization is dawning that being chosen wasn't about love. Being chosen was about convenience. It served a purpose. It provided cover. It helped maintain an illusion. Now that illusion is breaking and usefulness has ended. This person has become just another liability. This person has become just another individual who might talk when questioned. This person has become just another connection that could unravel everything. The jealousy toward you is consuming this person completely. You got out. You built something real. You're thriving while others are drowning in someone else's chaos. What seemed like winning the prize turned into being shackled to a sinking ship. Now you're visible, sailing away on solid ground, while others scramble for lifeboats that don't exist. The panic centers on money, specifically money obtained through deception. Someone from your past built a lifestyle beyond actual means. Appearances were maintained through manipulation. Multiple people were kept financially supportive by making each one think being special, chosen, investing in a future together. There was no future, just consumption, just taking, just using people until empty and moving to the next source. You were supposed to be one of those sources. That's what the relationship was really about. The relationship wasn't about love. The relationship wasn't about connection. The relationship wasn't about genuine partnership. The relationship was about access. It was about access to your resources, your name, your reputation, your stability. When you left, when you cut off access, it created a financial hole that had to be filled with someone else. That someone else is now realizing the pattern. That person is understanding the game. That person is seeing that being special was an illusion. The situation is worse than personal manipulation because official documents are involved. Applications might have had your information on them. Loans might have listed you without your knowledge. Business ventures might have claimed you as a partner when you never agreed. Tax documents might have included your income to inflate financial pictures. This is fraud. This is criminal activity. This is the kind of situation that brings official investigations. If this message awakens something within you, hype this video for other chosen ones who need to hear this. The group is panicking because connection to these activities runs deep. Some might have signed documents, some might have vouched for credibility, some might have provided false information to authorities or financial institutions. What seemed like helping a friend or supporting someone cared about is now visible as participating in illegal activity, being accessories to fraud, potential defendants in criminal cases. You're the key that unlocks truth. You're the witness who can verify what was real versus what was fabricated. Your testimony proves deception just by telling what you actually knew, what you actually signed, what you actually agreed to. You expose years of lies. You don't even have to try to take anyone down. You just have to tell truth. That's the power you hold right now. While an empire of lies was being built, while your name was being used without permission, while documents were being created you never saw, you were being protected, divinely, strategically, powerfully protected. Every attempt to pull you back in was blocked. Every message designed to manipulate you never landed. Every scheme to get your signature on something was diverted. You thought you were just healing. You thought you were just moving on. You thought you were just creating distance for your own peace. But something bigger was happening. You were being kept completely separated from illegal activity you could have been implicated in. No one can claim you knowingly participated. Your name, your reputation, your legal standing were protected while someone else dug deeper into fraud. Think about the times you almost responded. Think about the moments you almost answered calls. Think about the occasions you almost gave another chance. Something always stopped you. Something always redirected you. That wasn't coincidence. That was divine intervention keeping you away from a situation that would have consumed you legally, financially, emotionally. You weren't just being healed. You were being extracted from a crime scene before it became active. The timing is perfect now. You're completely clear of all involvement. You're totally separated from their activities. You're obviously not involved in whatever was built after you left. When official questions come, when investigators need your testimony, you can speak freely because you have nothing to hide. You weren't there, you didn't participate, you didn't know what was happening. That innocence, that clean separation, that's what makes your testimony so powerful and so dangerous to false narratives. The group knows this too. You're the element that can't be controlled. You have no reason to protect anyone. You'll tell simple truth without considering their interests. That truth is a bomb that can't be diffused. That's why some might try to reach out now, not to apologize, not to make amends, to manage you, to influence what you might say, to create confusion about what you actually know. Emergency phone calls are taking place. Panicked conversations are happening behind closed doors. People are trying to figure out how much you actually know and whether you're going to talk. The stress you're causing is real and massive. The beautiful part is you're not even trying. You're just existing as someone who knows truth and has no reason to protect lies. Think about what that does to people who built everything on deception. Sleep doesn't come easily for them. Phones are constantly being checked as people wonder if today's the day the call comes. Stories are being rehearsed mentally as people try to make sure all details line up. Anxiety attacks happen every time an unknown number appears. The knowing is there inside them. The moment official questions start, the moment investigators connect with you, the whole fabricated reality collapses. This is stress from waiting for consequences that can't be prevented. This is panic from knowing truth is out there and control over it is gone. This is fear from people who've been running from accountability for so long that the reality of it catching up was forgotten. You're the catalyst for all of it. Not because you're chasing anyone, not because you're exposing anything actively, but because you exist as living proof that their version of events was fiction. The group is fracturing under this pressure. People who were once united in supporting lies are now questioning each other. Who knew what? Who's going to crack first? Who's going to protect themselves by telling truth? The paranoia is consuming. People are starting to see each other as threats rather than allies. In situations like this, when legal consequences are on the table, people don't stay loyal to lies. Loyalty stays with self-preservation. Some are already distancing themselves, deleting old messages, removing social media posts, trying to erase evidence of connection to the person at the center. The hope is that enough plausible deniability can be created to claim not really knowing what was happening, just peripheral, just acquaintances, just people who heard things second-hand. But digital footprints don't disappear easily. Investigators know how to recover deleted content. Connections that people try to hide can be traced. Vague rumors weren't the only thing spread. Detailed false narratives were created about your character, your behavior, your mental state. People were told you were unstable, that you couldn't handle reality, that you created drama from nothing. The picture painted was of someone jealous, possessive, unable to move on, someone who needed to be isolated for everyone else's protection. These lies served multiple purposes. Mutual friends were kept from believing your side of the story. People were prevented from questioning why you really left. A narrative was created where your ex was the victim and you were the problem. This made justifying their behavior easier. Getting sympathy became simpler. Maintaining their image was possible, while doing things that should have destroyed their reputation. People are starting to compare notes. Someone remembers a detail that doesn't match what was told to them. Someone else heard a different version of the same event. Contradictions are piling up. When people start questioning one lie, all of them come under scrutiny. That's how false narratives collapse. One crack becomes a fracture, which becomes complete breakdown. You're about to be vindicated in ways that go beyond just clearing your name. People are going to realize you were telling truth the whole time. Understanding will dawn that your silence wasn't weakness. Your silence was strength. You didn't need to defend yourself because you knew time would reveal what words couldn't prove. You didn't need to fight lies because you trusted that truth would eventually surface. It is surfacing, right now, in real time. The stress this is causing in the group is multiplied by guilt. Some of these people participated in spreading lies about you. Words were said, false narratives were supported, help was given in isolating you. Now the realization is hitting that an innocent person was hurt. Participation happened in psychological warfare against someone who didn't deserve it. Even worse, it was all based on information from someone now being exposed as a compulsive liar. Guilt mixing with fear creates a toxic combination that is destroying them from the inside. This isn't going to be resolved through private conversations or social embarrassment. Official authorities are involved now. People whose job is investigating fraud are paying attention. People who have power to press charges are examining the situation. People who can access financial records, employment documents, official applications that might contain falsified information are building a case. This is real legal exposure. This is potential criminal consequences. This is the kind of situation that shows up on background checks and affects future opportunities. The group is panicking because nobody knows how deep the investigation will go. Nobody knows who else might be questioned. Nobody knows what evidence has already been collected. Investigators don't show their full hand. Information gets gathered quietly. Cases get built methodically. Dots get connected that guilty people don't even realize are visible. By the time direct questions start being asked, answers are usually already known. People are just being given opportunity to be honest or dig themselves deeper into trouble. You're going to be approached as a witness, not a suspect. That distinction is crucial for you to understand. You're someone who can provide information about what actually happened versus what was claimed. You have no legal exposure because you didn't participate in fraud. You weren't involved in deception. You got out before any illegal activity fully developed. That's divine protection, manifest in the most practical way possible. When you're questioned, when you tell simple truth, you're going to watch carefully constructed alibis fall apart. Your testimony establishes a baseline of reality that contradicts fabrications. You'll confirm that certain things never happened the way they claimed. You'll verify that you never signed documents said to have your signature. You'll prove that you never gave permission for things done in your name. Each confirmation you provide eliminates one of their escape routes. The stress this causes comes from them knowing manipulation won't work as an exit strategy. Investigators can't be charmed by them. Official authorities can't be gaslit by them. Confusion can't be created when documentation exists to review. Usual tactics don't work in this environment. The knowing is there inside them, so spiraling happens, panicking intensifies. Attempts to figure out how to minimize damage that can't actually be controlled continue. Official authorities aren't the only ones paying attention now. An entire community is watching this unfold. People who were told lies about you are now seeing truth emerge. People who cut you off based on false information are realizing manipulation happened to them too. People who chose sides without hearing your perspective are understanding the wrong person was backed. That collective shift in perception is creating its own kind of stress for the group. Social consequences can devastate as much as legal ones. When a community realizes someone is a liar, when friend groups understand deception happened, when family members see manipulation previously missed, there's a reckoning that takes place. Relationships end, trust gets destroyed, reputations crumble. People who built social standing on false narratives watch that standing evaporate when truth surfaces. Your ex built an entire social ecosystem on lies about you. Positioning happened as the wronged party. Sympathy was garnered from people. Support was received from the community. Friendships were maintained that should have ended when behavior was exposed. All of that was built on people believing one version of events. Now that version is being contradicted by evidence. Now that version is being contradicted by official investigations. Now that version is being contradicted by your testimony. Now that version is being contradicted by the simple fact that lies are too big to sustain. Look, you already know the attacks weren't random. And if you're paying attention, you can feel it. Their walls are closing in. So let's talk about what we're doing about it. That's why I built Destiny Engine. It generates personalized sequences that help you rewire betrayal into transcendence, turn isolation into sacred power, and transform their downfall into your rise. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed competition and scarcity and repurposing it to serve cooperative intelligence. The beauty is, you don't even have to lift a finger. You put on the headphones, press play, and your subconscious is rewired while your enemies collapse under the weight of their own lies. This is why I created it in the beginning, so everything they did to break you becomes fuel for your purpose. The collective upgrade is underway. Start your Destiny Engine for $1 today and watch divine justice accelerate in your life. Link in the description. The community is starting to ask questions that should have been asked before. Why did this person need so many romantic connections simultaneously? Why were there always financial problems, despite appearing successful? Why did people close to them keep leaving suddenly? Why were there so many stories about exes being unstable when the pattern seems to follow one person, not the exes? Once people start seeing patterns, once the common denominator gets recognized, illusion shatters completely. This community scrutiny is causing massive stress to everyone in the group. Worry isn't just about legal consequences anymore. Worry is about being exposed as enablers. Worry is about being seen as people who help to manipulate or harm others. Worry is about being viewed as individuals who chose loyalty to lies over commitment to truth. Reputations in this community are on the line. Standing in social circles is threatened. Credibility is being questioned. Nothing can be done to stop the shift in perception. What makes this community watching even more powerful is that it's happening organically. You're not orchestrating it. You're not feeding information to people. You're not campaigning for vindication. The truth is simply emerging on its own, because lies can't sustain themselves indefinitely. People are connecting their own dots. People are having their own realizations. People are coming to their own conclusions based on evidence and patterns becoming visible. This organic revelation is far more powerful than anything you could have forced, because it's happening through natural consequence rather than manipulation. So much work went into isolating you. Lies were spread to cut you off from mutual friends. Narratives were created to justify excluding you. Walls were built to make sure you couldn't come back into certain spaces. Now, as truth emerges, isolation is being experienced by those who created it. People are distancing themselves from the group. Mutual friends are reaching out to you to apologize. Community members are cutting ties with your ex and the enablers. The isolation being experienced is self-created. It's natural consequence of being exposed as liars. Nobody wants association with fraud. Nobody wants connection to someone under investigation. Nobody wants to risk their own reputation by maintaining friendship with people proven to be manipulative. So the group is shrinking. Support is disappearing. The network relied upon is dissolving. Your ex is feeling this isolation most acutely. The people gathered around were never really friends. They were accessories to a lifestyle. They were participants in a system. They were players in a game. When the game ends, when the system collapses, when the lifestyle becomes unsustainable, those people disappear, because there was never genuine connection. There was only mutual benefit. There was only transactional relationship. There was only surface-level interaction based on what each person could get from the arrangement. The main accomplice is experiencing similar isolation. The person who thought being special meant something is realizing being useful was the actual dynamic. Now that the situation is falling apart, now that legal exposure is happening, now that social consequences are mounting, usefulness has ended. Your ex is looking for exit strategies. Thinking isn't about protecting this person. Thinking is about self-protection. This person is finally seeing the relationship for what it always was. Exploitation disguised as romance. The group as a whole is fragmenting. People once united by supporting lies are now separated by fear of consequences. Talking to each other isn't happening because nobody knows who might be cooperating with investigators. Meeting up isn't happening because being seen together creates problems. Stories aren't being coordinated because inconsistencies will make everyone look guilty. Paranoia has destroyed the cohesion that kept them functioning as a unit. While others are experiencing isolation, you're experiencing expansion. Your world is opening up in ways you couldn't have imagined when you were trapped in that toxic dynamic. Opportunities are presenting themselves because you're no longer carrying the weight of their dysfunction. Connections are forming because you're vibrating at a frequency of authenticity that attracts genuine people. Success is flowing because you're no longer being drained by energy vampires disguised as romantic partners. The contrast between your experience and theirs is stark and telling. You walked away from chaos and built peace. You left dysfunction and created healthy patterns. You escaped manipulation and developed authentic relationships. Every choice you made to prioritize yourself over their drama has paid dividends you're now collecting. Every boundary you held, even when it felt lonely, has resulted in the spaciousness you now enjoy. Every time you chose truth over comfort has led to the genuine comfort you now live in. This transformation wasn't instant. You put in work, you faced difficult truths about yourself, you addressed patterns you brought into that toxic relationship. You healed wounds that made you vulnerable to manipulation in the first place. You built self-worth that can't be shaken by someone else's lies. You developed discernment that protects you from future toxicity. The person you've become through this healing journey is someone who can't be manipulated the way you once were. Your ex sees this transformation and wants access to it without doing the work. Your ex looks at your peace and wants to consume it without creating their own. Your ex observes your success and wants to attach to it without building their own. That's why the attempts to reconnect are happening. Not because of genuine change, not because of real remorse, but because parasitic individuals always seek new hosts when old ones wise up and leave. The beauty of where you are now is that you can see this clearly. You're not confused about their intentions. You're not wondering if maybe this time will be different. You're not hoping that your love could somehow fix them. You know better. You've learnt the hard way that you can't heal someone who doesn't want to heal themselves. You've discovered that love without wisdom is just enabling dressed up pretty. You've realized that some people are meant to be loved from a distance, and that distance is called freedom. While others are drowning in stress and panic and fear, you're standing on solid ground. You have a clean slate. You have an official opportunity to set the record straight. You have a chance to be heard by people who have authority to document truth. This isn't just personal vindication. This is legal vindication. This is official recognition that you were telling truth all along. When you provide testimony, when you answer questions honestly, when you verify facts that contradict lies, you're not just helping an investigation, you're reclaiming your narrative. You're taking back the story stolen from you. You're correcting the record falsified about you. This correction isn't happening in the court of public opinion, where people can choose what to believe. It's happening in official proceedings, where facts matter more than charisma. The power of this moment can't be overstated. You're going from being someone who was silenced by lies to someone whose truth is being officially documented. You're transitioning from being a person whose character was questioned to someone whose integrity is being verified. You're moving from a position where you had to defend yourself privately to a position where official authorities are defending you publicly by exposing fraud committed against you. This clean slate extends beyond just the legal realm. People who cut you off based on lies are going to want to reconnect. Communities that excluded you are going to welcome you back. Opportunities that were blocked by false narratives are going to open up. Not because you're fighting for them, not because you're demanding second chances, but because truth has a way of correcting injustice when it's finally allowed to surface. You're also getting emotional closure you might not have realized you needed. For a long time, you might have questioned yourself. You might have wondered if you were too harsh. You might have considered if you should have given more chances. You might have doubted whether your perception of toxicity was accurate. Now you have confirmation, official confirmation, legal confirmation, community confirmation. You weren't wrong. You weren't overreacting. You were seeing clearly when others were being deceived. This confirmation does something powerful inside you. It validates your intuition. It proves your instincts were correct. It demonstrates that your gut feeling about the situation was accurate all along. When you felt something was off, something was off. When you sensed lies were being told, lies were being told. When you knew you needed to leave, you absolutely needed to leave. Trusting yourself in the face of gaslighting is one of the hardest things you can do. Now you have external validation that your internal compass was pointing true north the entire time. The weight lifting off your shoulders from this vindication is immeasurable. You carried the burden of being misunderstood. You bore the pain of being misrepresented. You endured the frustration of knowing truth that others refused to see. Now that burden is being removed. Now that pain is being healed. Now that frustration is being resolved. The freedom you feel from this release is the freedom of someone who doesn't have to fight anymore because reality itself is fighting on your behalf. Now you're standing in a position of total power. You have truth on your side. You have divine protection surrounding you. You have clean hands and a clear conscience. You have nothing to hide and nothing to fear. When questions come, you answer honestly. When investigations proceed, you cooperate fully. When justice unfolds, you witness calmly, because none of this touches you, none of this implicates you, none of this diminishes you in any way. The group that's panicking is experiencing their karma catching up with them. The person who crashed out is watching their lies implode in real time. The legal involvement coming is consequences created by choices made long ago. None of it is your responsibility to fix, prevent, or soften. Your only job is to keep moving forward, keep building your empire, keep elevating your frequency, keep stepping into the destiny that's been calling you forward. You caused major stress to these people just by existing in your truth. You created panic in their group just by refusing to participate in lies. You triggered investigations just by walking away from fraud. You did it all without trying, without scheming, without plotting revenge. You simply chose yourself. You simply honored your worth. You simply refused to play games that degraded your spirit. That's the lesson in all of this. Power doesn't come from manipulation. Dominance doesn't come from control. Victory doesn't come from revenge. True power comes from alignment with truth. Real dominance comes from unshakable integrity. Lasting victory comes from choosing authenticity over approval every single time. You're free now. You're free from lies. You're free from manipulation. You're free from chaos. Truth is clearing your name. Justice is serving consequences. Divine timing is proving you were right to walk away. You get to step into your future completely unburdened by the past, completely untouched by schemes, completely vindicated by exposure of what was done. This is your moment, chosen one. This isn't the moment you fight back. This isn't the moment you get revenge. This is the moment you realize you already won. You won when you chose yourself. You won when you walked away. You won when you refused to play their games. Everything happening now is just the universe confirming what you already knew deep inside. You were too powerful for their lies, too valuable for their manipulation, too aligned with truth for their deception to ever really touch you. Stand in that power, own that dominance, embrace that victory. You didn't just survive schemes directed against you, you transcended them completely. You didn't just escape traps set for you, you evolved beyond them entirely. You didn't just clear your name from false accusations, you built a whole new identity that can't be touched by their chaos. The funeral where someone crashed out, that was their ending, that was their exposure, that was their collapse happening publicly. But for you, that was just confirmation, that was just validation, that was just proof that walking away was the best decision you ever made in your life. You're not looking back with regret, you're looking forward with confidence. You're not worried about their panic, you're focused on your purpose. You're not stressed about investigations, you're stepping into your destiny with certainty. This is what Chosen One energy looks like in action. This isn't about fighting everyone who challenges you. This isn't about defending yourself against every lie spoken. This isn't about participating in drama beneath your vibrational level. This is about walking in your truth so powerfully that lies collapse in your presence. This is about existing so authentically that deception can't survive around you. This is about being so aligned with your purpose that their chaos can't derail you from your path. You caused major stress just by being you. You created panic just by telling truth when asked. You triggered consequences just by refusing to participate in deception. Now you get to watch divine justice unfold while you keep building your empire, keep elevating your life, keep stepping into the magnificent future that's been waiting for someone powerful enough to claim it without apology. That someone is you. That power is yours. That victory is sealed. Welcome to your reign, Chosen One. This is just the beginning of what you're capable of creating when you stand fully in your truth and let the universe handle